Okay, so welcome to the third. This is the third lecture, covering chapter 4 in Hawley's MATLAB for Engineers 6th edition. Yeah, cool. Farm out right arm. Any questions that you guys want to answer before I dive head first into this chapter on manipulating MATLAB arrays? Okay, I'm going to move this over here so it's not in the way and makes it more useful. Move what? I didn't see you move it. Sorry, it was a light on my... I bought this stupid laptop and it's got illuminated keys, but the slits are so small and everything's... I can't see the stinking letters on the keys, so I had to get a light that hits top of my monitor so that I can see what I'm doing. How does that? I don't know. I'm just rambling on again. Okay, so anyway, chapter 4. So the objectives today, sorry I don't have this up in a PowerPoint presentation, but it is on page 121 of the 6th edition. So at the end of this chapter, you should be able to manipulate numeric arrays, extract data from numeric arrays, solve problems with two array variables of different size using meshgrid. Definitely will cover meshgrid pretty good because some students have struggled understanding what that does. Create and use special numeric arrays, explain the difference between character and string arrays, and use techniques to manipulate numeric arrays to analyze and manipulate textual data. Wow, that sounds so much fun. Okay, so some of this stuff we've covered already in the first few chapters. Whether obviously they weren't in the chapters, but because they wouldn't be in this chapter too. But I did it because it's a creature of habit. So I'm going to create me a new. What did I do? Ooh, I got an M file here. So I just created me a new M file over here, and so defining numeric arrays. There are several ways in which to define or create an array or vector in MATLAB. You can just start off by assigning a value to a variable. So when we execute that, we'll get t equals 12. You can also put a scalar inside of curly bracket or square brackets, not curlies, and get the same thing. Okay, so if you want to create a string or a vector with more than one point, you can do this again either in or outside of square brackets with the colon. And if you only do two numbers, so this says create P starting at 1 going to 10 with an increment of 1. So if you have two digits there, it'll just do increment of 1. But if you want to increment of a different size, then you do another number in here between colons. And now with a 2 in there in the middle, it's going to go from 1 to 10 by 2s. And because it's every odd number, it won't do the number 11 because we told it to stop at 10. Okay. If you want to create a matrix, multiple rows, you can do that in either a single line or multiple lines. I personally like multiple lines, but to each his own. Oh, and here's one that I didn't forget. Oh, you gotta have an equal sign there, stupid. Hey, don't call me that. It hurts my feelings. When you're doing arrays by multiple numbers like this, you can enter them into a square brackets. You can do either with a space or with a comma. Either method works. If you're going to do a matrix, they need to be also in square brackets. Now you can do them all in one line. Oh, let's keep going with the same convention we got going here at 9. And so we run that, so that gives us a matrix of 3 columns and 3 rows. Or if you want, you can, and this is the way I'd like to do it, because to me it stands out that, hey, that's a matrix, that's not just an array. Put a semicolon and go down to the next row. Oops, not 3, 4, 5, and 6. And or you don't need the semicolon if you do it to the next row either. But you do got to end with a square bracket. Okay, and you can also put commas in here, but then I like to keep my numbers equally spaced. It's just me. It doesn't make any difference. You can use negative numbers in here, but again, my little OCD tells me that it's got to line up. Okay. So some of the some things you can do is you can make an array out of vectors. What do I got here? What do I got? Where's my size at? There we go, size. So I got 2 3x3s here. So I can make a 3x6 by combining those two. So I got K and L. I put them in side by side with a comma, and I forgot the square bracket. So by putting a comma, it puts the second one next to or creates more columns. And if we use a semicolon, it will put them underneath, creating more rows. Okay, is that cool or what? Say, yeah, that's cool. Wow, man, that is just totally tubular. Okay, column, ellipsis. Let's say you had a really long, have I used H yet? I don't think I've used H yet. Vector here. Oh, don't want to have the letters in there yet. Okay, so that works, but this is really confusing and whatnot. You can, and I don't want to have to retype all those. Oops, Control Z. We'll just copy that and come down here. You can use an ellipsis and break this into several different rows. Now to do that, you have to have a comma followed by 3 points, and then come down to the next row. This just makes it a little, I don't know, easier to read. You know, if your window was so much smaller, you know, yeah. So I mean, it still gives you the same thing, but you got to make sure and put the comma in there. If you don't put the comma, it confuses MATLAB and it doesn't know what it's doing. Oh, sure, make a liar out of me. It's never worked for me before. Oh, there we go, because I took too many decimal. No, yeah, because see, it doesn't have the comma there. Maybe it needs a space. That's what it was. So you got to have a comma or a space. Okay. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay. And you know, we can create vectors too by let's say 4, and then we're going to add, I don't know, what do we got? Let's add the little lowercase p, and so that'll add it. Just, you got to make sure that the dimensions equal. So like we could add that there, but if we tried to do well, I don't know, maybe it will do it. If we put P on the bottom, it may create a whole bunch of zeros on the 4. Nope, they got to be the same size. Got to be the same size. Oh, man. Okay. Version cell element. Okay, so let's come up here, back up to this one here, and we want to extract that digit from L. So you can do that by just putting the location. So it's in this one would be in the second row, second column. So it's always rows by column. Oh, don't give me that. Oh, this one here is it's not liking this one. Now we can do that. So see, by telling it to go to the second row, second column, we pull that out. We can also let's come down here and create a new cell, so we're not running all that, and put that back in there. And if we want to extract, let's say, third column, we'll assign it to W equals L is where we're going. We want all the rows from the third column. And the same thing works for pulling out rows. Let's say we want the second row and all the columns. Okay. Let's say we just want these two digits right here. So they're the second row, the second and third column. Then we specify rows. We want the second row, and we want columns 2 through. Oh, that's not even close to being right, you idiot. There you go. The second column, and then we want rows 3 through. No, rows 2 and 3. Columns 2 and 3. There we go. And that pulled up the last two columns of the second row. Okay. Oh, hey, Burke. Welcome aboard. Any questions on this so far? Or have I got you so totally confused now you're going to go home and go beep, 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 beep. Oh, and there's another way. If you just put in a single digit, let's say L, we want to find out what the fifth element of L is. Okay, it's going to be 5. Okay, let's pick something that doesn't. Let's go fourth element, which is going to return a 2. Okay, and the reason I knew that was because what it does is it starts in the first column, first row, and goes down and counts 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we do the 5 here, come on, it'll pull up 5. If we do 8, will give us a 6. Okay. Oh, and see, look at that. I already went into the colon operator. Colon rows, vectors. Cool. We're cruising right along. I'll have you guys back home by 8:30. What do you mean back home? I'm already at home, sitting here, nice and warm and toasty. Yeah, cool.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
I
yes.
know you said earlier that you were on campus. Which campus do you usually go to? Which campus are you usually at?
I'm not on campus. I've been on the campus twice in the last year and a half, and that was just dropping off textbooks to the testing center.
Just kidding. Never mind. Thank you.
Okay, but you know, I'm only about 7 or 8 minutes away from the Redwood campus. If you want me to meet you up there, I'm more than happy to pop over there. Because I got me a parking pass now, so I can park without having to go to a meter.
There you go. I'll let you know
yeah.
where I'm at, but thank you for
yeah.
offering. I really appreciate that.
I think There is another instructor teaching this course this semester, and we have in the past, the in-person instructors have allowed my students to come in and sit with their class while he's lecturing, and even working in the lab and assist. They just need to tell him that that you're in my class, and they'll let you sit in there. They, like I say, they've done that in the past, and I don't know why they wouldn't. If Holly was teaching, you definitely would, because I've helped her out enough that she usually turns around and helps me with my students. Hang on, I'm looking to see if there's another course. I think there's one more. I'm not sure if it's Andrew teaching it or if it's Andrew teaching it. It's either Andrew or Andrew.
That makes it easy.
Yeah. I know Andrew, but I've never met the Andrew. So Andrew Vogt, is it Vogt? VOGT? Him I know, because he and I worked together teaching a guitar class for a couple semesters. But Andrew Hobson, I've never met him. I've worked with him online. Sorry, either my internet's slow or the college is really... Well, I guess maybe I'm the only one teaching. I'm sorry, guys. You're stuck with me. Are you 1020 or 1030, 1040s?
I'm pretty sure I'm a 1030 student.
Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like I'm the only one teaching both of those this semester. Sorry, you're stuck with me. But if you want to meet up over at the community college, or if you want to come over to my office, you're more than welcome to come over to my office. We got a conference room. We can go sit down. I'm more than happy to help you all out. Okay, so let's we extract. Okay, so now we're looking at problems with two variables using mesh grid. Get out of there. So what mesh grid is obviously it allows you to take two variables that are of different size and make them both the same size so that you can use them in your calculations. So let's say, for instance, that we have a vector here that is 3 elements, and I'm going to do this so that you can see the actual outcome of it. And another one that is 4 elements. Let's go 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Now, if we tried to multiply those together, it's going to scream at us saying that they're different size. But if we come up here, and this is where some of the students struggle with this, is you need to assign this to two outputs. You can use the same variables. It'll just overwrite them, so you'll no longer have these values signed to it. They'll be the new values created in mesh grid. Or you can create new variables. So I just capitalize them. And then it's mesh grid, and then the input of the two variables that are of different size. And what it's going to do is, actually, we want to do a dot element here. This still wouldn't work even with the dot operator there. It's still going to say they're not the right size. But now, don't give me that. Why? Oh, because I capitalized them. Ha! You're an idiot. Oh, thank you. Dot times L. There we go. Now it works. But you'll notice here that P is now 4 rows of 3 columns of the values that were in P, 1, 2, 3, and L is 3 rows of 4 columns of this. So now they're the same size, so that you can multiply them together. So, what I see a lot of students doing is they'll just take and do a single output. Mesh grid P and L. And it created something, but it only gave you the one. When there's 2 outputs expected from a function, and you only assign it to one variable, you only get the first one. You don't get the second one. So make sure you assign that to 2. And then also, a thing I see a lot of students do is they'll put the lowercase p and lowercase l here, mesh grid them to a large case P and a large case L, and then in their calculations they'll go back and use the original, and it don't work because they're not the right size. So yeah, cool. Any questions on mesh grid? Okay. Ooh, hey David, I didn't see you sneak in. Not sneak in, I didn't see you come in. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions on mesh grid? Okay, I expect at least the 4 of you guys to get this one 100% right on the homework. And make sure that when you're doing the homework that you'll notice that on see, here's another thing that students do is problem number 8, 4.8 and 4.9 are so much easier to do, just straightforward. But if you look at the heading where the problems are listed, they're under problems with 2 variables. So if you don't use mesh grid, you get a nasty note from the grader telling you that you're supposed to use mesh grid for those. So make sure on 4.8 and 4.9 you use mesh grid. Okay, cool. So next we have the next one up is zeros and ones. So these would be special arrays. Special arrays. Let's clear again. Oops. Get that up the top of the screen. There we go. So zeros basically does what you would think it does, is it creates a either a vector or matrix depending on your input of zeros. Now if you use a single digit input, it will give you a square matrix of that size. So a 2 gave me a 2 by 2. So if I ask for 100 data points in there, and you put in 100, you're going to have 1,000, because you're going to have 100 rows of, or 100 columns of 100 rows. So to get 100, you'll do a number of rows and a number of columns. Okay, so this is useful in like running loops and whatnot, because you'll predefine your variable to an established length, and it doesn't take the computer that extra microsecond to create the next input. And it also works the same with ones, only instead of giving you a whole bunch of zeros, it gives you a whole bunch of ones. Them's cool. And on page 136 in the textbook, it lists some of the special arrays you can make. There's zeros, ones, diagonal. This one, I actually learned something in this textbook that I didn't know before. So if we had our L vector back here again, and we did k equals diag of L, what this is going to do is it's going to return a vector of the diagonal, the main diagonal, 1, 5, minus 9. Okay, if we wanted this one, which is one of the homework problems, a lot of students just figure that, oh, well, I can just, to get that one, we would do diag of L transposed. Well, no, it gives you the same one, because what transpose does is it flips that matrix about that diagonal. So that stays the same. What you need to do is do a flip, either left right, or is it up down, one or the other, not transposed. And not that, there we go. No, it's got to be up down, sorry, my bad. Flip up down. What? Don't give me that. Flip up down. Oh, up. I went up down. There we go. Flipped. So up down, it basically takes this row and brings it up to the top, and this one down to the bottom, and then it gives you your diagonal of the that. So left right didn't. I don't know why left right didn't work. It should have worked. Did it work and I just didn't see it? Left, right, L. Oh, we gotta do a yeah, that should have given me, no, 3, 5. Yeah, that should have gave us, I don't know, I'm so confused. Yeah, actually up down just gave us the main diagonal backwards. Now that is very confusing. Oh, you're an idiot. Oh, thank you. You are so kind with your words. So I'm taking the diagonal and then flipping it. That ain't what I want to do. Your teacher's on drugs or something. He just doesn't know what the freak he's doing. We got to flip it first and then take the diagonal. See, good thing about this Camtasia software is I can edit out all these mistakes and make it look like I knew actually what I was talking about. There we go. Now we got that diagonal. And I knew the left right should have worked, and up down, just the order. So, and you can specify also to offset a little bit, and so now it's taking this diagonal here, and I think if actually, because I flipped up and down, let's go over here and do this one to make sure we get in the right. There we go. So K is 2, 6, which is this one up here, and if we make this negative, it's now coming down this way. But what I learned about this one is if the diagonal, if we had a variable and we go and this better work because it says this is what it'll do in the book, is it creates a matrix with that as its diagonal, and the rest are zeros. Isn't that cool? Say, yeah, that's cool. Wow, man, I can actually sleep tonight because I learned that. And then the last, and this one is in the homework. I know this one's in the homework. Is the magic square. Again, if you put a integer in there, and it creates a magic square where if you sum the rows or the columns and sum the rows, and even if you sum the diagonal, they're all the same. 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, and we'll suppress this and see how big we can go here. Let's go go 100. Oh, don't do that. Isn't that cool? Say, yeah, that's cool. And there's one more you have to do for the homework. I'll let you guys figure that one out on your own. And that's pretty much manipulating the charged. Okay, so prior to this textbook, we were always doing everything with characters. And then Holly found out that it's not always best to do things with characters, and it's better to use with string. Unless there is some specific reason why you need to see what happens is if you assign something as a caricature, we'll just do me. What it does is it creates a vector that has one element for each character in that string. So if I pull out D4, so the fourth letter in my name is an H. But if we do it as a string, F equals the whole string, whole character thing is one element. So now we can pull out F and you get the whole name back. I think remember reading in the book that you use less memory by going to a string as opposed to an array. Computations are a lot quicker, and when you're trying to, and you can have let's say let's do my last name here as another string. Okay, and then we can combine in here. We'll use K because that's actually my middle name, and not initial. That is my middle name. We'll F and G. See, we're able to add those together because they're both the same size. But if we had my last name as a character, so D here is it's also running up as I think a single digit is this character. There we go. Yeah, so you can either use the command or just single for a character and double quotations for a string. But see, now if I try to combine my first name with my last name into a single element, it ran them together as the one. You lie to me. How about if we put them underneath? I know there's something here that doesn't work. There we go, because they're not the same size. Yeah, they would go side to side because you're just adding to the row. Let's see, K worked because they're the same size, but M didn't because they're not the same size. Okay, any questions on strings or characters?
Nope.
Yeah. Oh, that's the end of chapter 4. Any questions whatsoever? Homework? I don't know if y'all noticed that the due dates changed last Tuesday. we changed them to try and get these lectures out before the practice exercises on the chapter is due, instead of after, which, kind of makes sense, but I wasn't thinking that when I did the scheduling up.
Hey, Art.
Yes.
Are we gonna continue to meet on Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Or are we gonna change the date?
No, we'll go ahead and stay on Tuesdays. Unless you guys want to move them to Mondays, give you an extra day of working after the lecture before the practice exercises are done. I'm willing to bow to the majority here. If everybody wants to move to Monday nights or even Sundays, I really don't care. I'm willing to do what y'all want. I'm here to make it easiest for you guys.
I like Tuesdays.
The thing with the plastic exercises is and I apologize for, I've basically been neglecting this class for the last 3-4 days. I've been working hot and heavy on trying to get the tiling done in my kitchen floor. It's been a 4-month project that I was promised would only be 4 days. So I'm trying to get that done so I can get my house back in order. I do have copies of the solutions for the practice exercises for the 6th edition and also for the homework. I will get those out so that you have access to them. For the practice exercises, you'll have them prior to submitting your homework for the practice exercises. They are intended to be used only when you're struggling and can't figure something out, not to be copied and turned in as your own work. The homework solutions will be available to you after I grade your homework. And because they are as soon as I enter a score, they're available. Actually, I think the 5th editions are available right now. I need to get them updated to the 6th. And I'll get those out. Also, if anybody's willing to do a little extra work and help me look into the MATLAB grader, which is an online source of the homework. Basically, well, here I can show you what it does, what it is. I've got a couple of students working on it right now. One of them says it's really, really beneficial. One of the things that this does they tend to like is that, as you can see, they're working on it. It gives you the problem up here and what's expected of you. We go into the learner's preview. And then down here is where you work the code. So we'll create a matrix called D from the 3rd column of A. So D is equal to A 3rd column, so that's all the rows from the 3rd column. You can run the script here and check it out. And then once you've got them all done, you can submit. And this will grade down here, and if it sees anything wrong, you get instant feedback. Obviously, I didn't submit anything for these, so I need to go back. But if it's right, it tells you it's right. That's one thing the student that's been working with me on it so far likes, is the instant feedback. I try to be instant. It's send me a text, I get them, and as soon as I see them, I reply to them. The one thing I see as a downfall is you've got to be exact with what it says up here. It says called D. Therefore, that's a D, if I called it a capital D and try to run it and submit it, it'll run. But if I try to submit it, it's looking for a lowercase d. It won't find it, so it's an error. So all the variables have to be exactly as called for in the instructions. So I see that as whoa, go away. Something that needs to be learned by the student. But if anybody is interested in that, send me a message in Canvas with your email address, and I'll send you an invite to this page. I'm considering if anybody wants to do it, possibly giving a little bit of extra credit just for the assistance that they're providing. I need to silence you. Go away. I'm trying to teach the class. I can't have you making noise at me. So yeah, cool. But as you can see here, I'm a little bit behind too. I'm working on chapter 4 homework right now. So yeah, cool.
Oh boy.